My guest is Raphael Cohen-Almagor. He's a professor at the University of Hull in Britain. Welcome to the show, Raphael.
Good to be here.
Good to see you again. Raphael, you do a lot of work on both media and ethics and all that, but I want to talk about the peace process with you, because they all have an impact one on the other. What would you say your sense of the peace process is about this time? Where have they got to? Why the impasse?
Well, I think that Israel has today the most oakish government in the history of Israel. I don't think that any government until now, from 48, the foundation of the state, until now was so extreme,
I
so
read
radical.
that on your blog. I was a little surprised, actually. I read
Well,
that.
look at the composition of the government.
Yeah, you're talking about Lieberman and all the other guys.
Of course. So it's a very oakish sort of a line, and therefore, and people have this misperception of Bibi Netanyahu. They think, probably because of the way that he presents himself, the way that he looks, the way that he talks, he's very eloquent, he tries to be nice, he smiles. People tend to think that he's a pragmatist. There's nothing to show for it, besides the good face that he has. I mean, he's not a pragmatist. He's a right-winger, radical extremist. And for him, it's very, very clear. He wants to retain as much land as possible and not give it away to the Palestinians. Look at the history of Bibi Netanyahu. When he was first prime minister in 1996, this is 3 years after the striking of the Oslo Accords in 1993. There was still, supposed to be, according to some deadlines to meet. The only time that he succumbed to pressure, and there was a mounting pressure on him, was the Jericho Agreement. But other than that, he didn't succumb to any pressure. And what did he just delaying every sort of deadline until they never met? So look at that history, look at the composition of his government now, and you know where we are heading. So from the Israeli perspective, it's an impasse. From the Palestinian perspective, it's also an impasse. Why is that? Because it is a fragmented society, because there is a competition over the votes of the Palestinians between Gaza and the West Bank, because they don't see eye to eye, because Hamas gladly will kill Fatah and Fatah will gladly kill Hamas. There are rivalries between them, because we are talking about incapable leader. Abu Mazen is incapable to deliver any goods. And moreover, Abu Mazen in a position where he's just looking at what's supposed to be his state, the Palestinian state, shrinking in front of his eyes. And he can't do anything about that.
But isn't there some difference? I mean, after all, on the Israeli side, there is finally, the right wing says, we accept the two-state solution. Where it is a separate issue.
No, I want to correct you. Bibi Netanyahu said.
Said, yeah.
You never heard it from Bibi
No,
Lieberman.
certainly not.
So parts of the government say that.
But it's the prime minister.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but
so
he says many things.
You're really skeptical, obviously, of Bibi. On the other side, there's Fayyad and the rise of the technocrats on the Palestinian side, which has created a new force there. Don't those two factors make a difference?
No.
Okay, tell me why.
Well, there's no leader there. Again, Abu Mazen, he may have good intentions, but he doesn't have any capacity to deliver. Fayyad is a very capable technocrat. And Israel admires his capacity to do some things for the benefit of his own people. But if you look at the way that the Palestinian society perceives him, not as a leader, they perceive him as a technocrat, as a person that can build building, move machinery, but he's not a person who's going to deliver peace. The Palestinians don't want him to deliver peace. So I don't think that he's going to move anywhere. I mean, Obama may have all kinds of plans that for people to trust buildings, so now we are going to have meetings to speak. About what? I mean, what is there to speak about? When I'm saying Abu Mazen is watching his land slipping outside of his reach.
Well, what about the other possibility? That there's, this is all talk and it's no action, nothing results from it, it's all stalling. What about the process of peacemaking de facto rather than de jure? They in fact come to a mutual understanding to leave it as it is, will deal with each other, and they trade with each other. 80% of Palestinian trade is with Israel. There's all kinds of interactions between the two sides, and it becomes a de facto peace. Is that a possibility? I'm not talking about Hamas and Gaza now.
You're talking about the West Bank.
Yeah, West Bank only.
Do you want to speak about economic peace?
Well, there's some degree of that.
I don't think it exists.
Oh, it doesn't exist? Why do you say that?
Economic peace?
Well, in the sense that there's trade and interaction, there's some partnership deals, there's that kind of thing, so that when you don't say there's no peace agreement, you can't agree on borders, you can't agree on Jerusalem, you can't agree on the refugees, but nevertheless, we can live side by side, we're not going to go to war. That's not peace and agreement, but it's not war. And it becomes a de facto peace.
Yeah, that's probably what Israel wants. Do you think the Palestinian wants that?
I think they don't want it, but on the other hand, they might say, given all the terrible choices, that's the only one. When I was at Al-Quds University, I got a sense of acceptance of a number of things, and it encouraged me to be at this Palestinian conference. So I came away, coming away pretty positive, not from the Hamas people, that was not positive at all, but from the others. I was negative in the sense that I didn't see the conditions for the peace. I didn't see, as you suggested, that the elements of the deal were there or anywhere close. But I saw a sense of living side by side, impatience with it, all kinds of frustrations, but not an eagerness to go to war.
I think what you're presenting now is more or less Bibi's Netanyahu position.
It is.
And I think that you are deluding yourself.
Okay, tell me why. I'm eager to hear.
Because the Palestinians are not going to settle for anything but a state, a full-fledged state. And the only issue that is on the table is to solve all these intricate problems part of them that you mentioned, which is the right of return, the refugee problem, security, borders, settlement, Temple Mount, Jerusalem. All of them need to be resolved. All of them are on the table. Until now, there's no positive movement on their side. So when there's no positive movement on their side, what they're waiting for is for them to construct some initiatives. I think that what Fayyad is going to do, Abu Mazen is going to fade into oblivion at some point. Then Fayyad is going to compete for power with the locals, meaning the new generation, not those who came from Tunis, but the new generation that emerged from the bottom up in the West Bank. They're going to compete over that, and we know that Dakhlan is just around the corner, and Rajub is around the corner, and others are around the corner. There's going to be competition over the leadership. If Fayyad is going to remain in power, what he says, and I believe him, that he is going unilaterally declare a Palestinian state, suffering the consequences with the backing of, hopefully for him, Obama is going to give his blessing. And of course, the European community is going to give the blessing. And then the issue is going to go how we are going to advance to get to the aims that we want. I just mentioned all of them. And if he is going to see that peace, so far, whatever you call it, in peaceful ways is not going to reach anywhere, then is going to slowly push for more and more violence. That's the way that I see that.
To push for more and more violence?
Violence.
You think so?
There's going to be violence.
I see. Whereas I would think, that on either side it wouldn't pay to engage in violence, even if he declares a state, and even if Israel says, if you declare a state, that's an act of war. I don't believe it'll
They don't have much to lose. What is there for them to lose? They have to press forward. And some of them, the remarkable thing is that when you hear Israelis, how they speak about the Palestinians is very similar to the way that the Palestinian speaks about the Israeli. And both sides say exactly the same. The other side understands only force. That's we Israelis, that's the way that we perceive Palestinians, that's the way the Palestinian perceives us, that we understand only force. So if it's not going to go by peaceful means, they have to exhaust all the means that are available to them. Violence is going to be on the agenda.
Well,
how to do the violence, how to conduct the violence, how much to push, how much to resort, that's of course debatable. But if it's not going to be peaceful means, they're going to resort to any means available to them. And therefore, I don't see any way out of the impasse. Because we have two leaders with two nations that don't have any trust between one another, they don't speak to one another, they want very different things from one another and also from themselves. And the poor Palestinians, at least now, they have nothing they can do.
Well, Raphael, I thought I was pessimistic, but you make me look optimistic. Thanks very much.
Thank you.